and nothing has happened. Yet, we have also not had any official reasons. These are the things that could, heighten the tension. And don't forget in Rivers State, it started just by the thinking of a few sections of the opponents, thinking that the candidate of the other party is in the INEC office. I mean, if INEC had come out and done everything to convince them that this man is not there or that he is there for one or two reasons which can be rationalized, perhaps the suspicion that built from there may not have come. But I'm making this point rather carefully because I think that if you had a set of people to deal with and you are convinced and satisfied that they are particular about the result of the process they have engaged in and that they are patient about it and willing to go through the rules and abide by the rules, then you have very little challenges to deal with. Now, even before now, we have Nigerians in diaspora waiting, expectant, calling. I have got so many calls from outside this country. Indeed, as a lawyer, I must give this information. On the 6th of December last year, some 5 prisoners, on behalf of all the prisoners in Nigeria, obtained a judgment from Federal High Court Benin Division, specifically from Justice A.M. Liman's court in Benin, where the court handed out a judgment that all prisoners are now entitled to participate in this process. The point I'm making, therefore, is that if you had an entire body of illiterates whose body language clearly suggests by their conduct that they are willing to go the whole hog and see the end of it, perhaps you need just effective communication. Like I said the other time, the issue of coordination of this information, and then the ability to carry the people along to avert most of this.
So you think that right now we should be saying, say, an INEC spokesperson with our
telling us why it is no longer 12,
why
it might be 2:30 or by 3, just so that we're able to also explain to one another that I mean, in the spirit of what has started, this president, and I'm not fun to be repeating this, the president, after 35 minutes of his inability to have his accreditation, came out and admonished the whole country to say, look, gentlemen, if we had come this far, and if it would take a little more sacrifice in terms of patience to get this thing done, we just need to be that patient.
Shouldn't that be sufficient for us? I mean, first of all, it's not like I see it's been shifted to tomorrow. It looks like it will still happen today. It's just that it will seem that there are hiccups from what our correspondent has reported in terms of security arrangements. Shouldn't we be understanding and naturally patient?
The least we can do at this stage is to continue to appeal to our people to be patient, to be calm. I don't think INEC has given any impression of ineffectiveness in the circumstances. Perhaps the issue of logistics, the issue of communication and coordination needs more to be desired. But ultimately, I do believe that this result will be announced today. Again, I had referred to the constitutional provision that clearly gives INEC the leeway in this circumstance. There is a point you get to. A winner will be deemed to have emerged. And then you cash in on that and save the country from any further misgivings.
Well, you have been watching the process. I'm sure that you've been also seeing watching what's been happening maybe from home after you woke up from your sleep. But the thing is, do you think it is too early in the day to start setting the agenda, to start drawing on lessons learned by the electorate and even on the part of INEC and even from the part of security agencies to see how we can improve, especially on the elections coming up in less than 2 weeks? Is it too early in the day?
Well, I would say it is too early, yet not too early, and I will explain. On the side of being too early, I would say, look, the real challenge in election process in Nigeria, in our own peculiar circumstances, is, of course, I think in Africa, is usually when the results are announced. The difficulty and inability of the political actors to play by the rules and be good losers usually will cause that problem. So I say it is too early because the result has not yet been announced, regardless of what we have seen in the social media. Now, at that point, if and when it is announced, and if we have situations play out themselves, you would say perhaps we're able to learn one or two things from them. But on the other hand, I would say it is not too early because we have garnered sufficient experience. Look, and I can read them out. One is the resolve, the determination of the Nigerian people, not just to participate, but to own this process. I mean, I had described about how people bought barbecue, arranged barbecue, bought umbrellas for the rainy day. Others were in the ward, in the polling booth where I voted. They were 2 lights. And I said a 3rd line was created for people above 65, 75, and 80 something, just so that they don't suffer the excruciating effect of the sun and have to wait that long before they cast their vote. I mean, that is one huge lesson. The other one is to say, look, INEC, your intent is never in doubt in this process. Even from the temporary to the PVC to card reader, it seems to Nigerians, it seems to the world. Indeed, I was listening to, I read what the ambassador to the, U.S. The U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, what he said specifically regarding the quality of the card reader. He said, look, even in his own state of Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, it is not this perfect. They don't have as much, their biometrics are not taken, and so on and so forth. I mean, these are improvements that have come from the black African continent, and then being compared as even better than what is obtainable in U.S.
Even though it raises questions as to, why we had to get to this level, just to ensure that. But let us not go into that now. Because we've introduced it. We are learning lessons from it. I do know that we received a mail from one of our viewers. Mails have been dropping. I hope I have not lost track of that particular mail. But it was from an INEC ad hoc member of staff who was accredited who was trained for him. If I remember what he said they were trained. They went through the process. They were trained very well, but unfortunately, their names did not come out. They were not the ones whose names eventually turned up. Eventually, on that day, some people did not show up, and so they were now called in as emergency staff. And on that day, they had to train for the people. These are some of the reports that we're beginning to get, and they are Nigerians too, so they have every right to express their opinion watching the program and saying what exactly they thought went wrong on that particular day.
Surely the quality and content of the training that those who superintended this exercise is in doubt, because I think the general consensus out there is that, look, these people had very poor knowledge about the operation of this device, and that it was as little as removing the cellophane on the face of whatever, and that once that was done, you could see that the challenges that took several minutes, several hours, became solved instantly. Now, so INEC certainly will have to draw from that and say, look, you do not train a category of persons, and for some administrative or bureaucratic reasons, you have on the field people who were not sufficiently trained. I think it is too important, too sensitive, too key that people who have very little knowledge about the operation of this card will have to be deployed moving forward.
Well, anyway, how these went down specifically in a particular state, Anambra, southeast of Nigeria. Some key players in that particular election will be speaking with us, Mrs. Ekwinife, as well as Senator Chris Ngige.
From my constituency and in my polling booth, I didn't vote. I didn't vote at all. 50% of the places, they came very late as 11 a.m. And in 20% of the places, they also did not come with election materials.
It's transparent, it's credible, and free and fair. So it's surprising that Mokwe will say that he will not accept the result. Which one will he accept? Is it when he wins me that he will accept? I'm sure he can attest to the fact that this is one of the most credible elections ever held in Anambra State.
Well, you heard it all, and the big question between the two, getting to hear all sides. She said it, and he's also reacted, and